What's the most messed up thing you did in a sleepover? Played with matches. 4 years afterward thought I'd burned my aunt and uncle's house down. I was staying with them. My cousin and I were lighting matches in the kitchen and throwing them in the sink to put them out. The head of one flew off and landed in the shelving unit by the sink, still smoking, but when we looked for it, we couldn't find it. It was the 80s, so all those kids "Don't play with matches" ads were everywhere. Hours later we were awakened by my aunt telling us to get out of the house because it was on fire. Watched their house burn to the ground and was terrified to tell them what we'd been doing earlier. I just knew we'd done it. Carried that guilt for years. When I was around 15ish, which was many years later, I finally told my aunt. She started laughing, and after realizing I'd been thinking this the whole time, hugged me and explained it had been wiring in the back bedroom. I was an adult before I finally understood, after learning about how fire marshals investigate fires, that it wasn't just an assumption they'd made and could let go of that guilt. So I guess, technically, the most screwed up thing I did on a sleepover was traumatize myself for years. We were all like 9 or 10-year-old girls and everyone else had fallen asleep except for me, so I decided I would play a prank on them. I got up and shook a good amount of black pepper into my hand and went to several of the girls and held it under their noses. What I was thinking would happen was they would wake up sneezing and be like, "Hey, that was silly," but instead they ended up waking up crying because they inhaled pepper, and turns out black pepper being inhaled into a sensitive orifice can really sting. The girls cried so hard that my parents woke up and I had to explain the whole innocent idea behind my scheme. I felt so bad. So my house never had junk food when I was little, and when I slept over my friend's house I ate an entire Chips Ahoy container while everyone was asleep, and then put the container under her little sister's bed, who then got blamed for it and in trouble. I got my first period at a sleepover, and lucky for me the first year of periods came with wicked vomiting and diarrhea. So in the middle of the night, right after everyone fell asleep, I destroyed my friend's bathroom with a volcanic amount of diarrhea. Then, on my way back to the living room, where 5 preteen girls were crammed, I proceeded to vomit directly between 2 girls sleeping. I had to ask the mom for help with cleaning up the mess. Got a bloody nose. It was dark, and I didn't know the house, so I stuck near the walls and went down the hallway and found the bathroom. Got the bleeding to stop, cleaned up, went back to sleep. In the morning, the mom came in frantic, making sure everyone was alive, after she saw smeared, bloody handprints all the way down the hallway. Not a sleepover really. I mean, I guess you could call it that, but I was spending the night at my boyfriend's house, maybe 5 or so months into our relationship. I woke up maybe around 3 AM with what I assumed was a runny nose, and my pillow was pretty wet, so I assumed I was drooling all over the place. Half asleep I wiped my face and immediately fully woke up in shock because the snot I wiped was really warm. Couldn't see a thing, so I sat up to go to the bathroom, and right when I did, my nose just started pouring out warm liquid, like it was literally just a waterfall of blood coming out of my nose. I immediately sprinted to the bathroom to get toilet paper, which woke my boyfriend up. I told him I had a nosebleed, so he went to turn on the lights just to make sure I was okay. The toilet paper soaked up fast, so I grabbed a hand towel. That soaked up fast, so I resorted to holding my head above the toilet to just let the blood spill out into it. As soon as my boyfriend turned the lights on, he saw the murder scene. That was the bed. Everything was just covered in blood. My clothes, my pillow, the sheets and blanket, just blood everywhere. I was super lightheaded, but the bleeding eventually stopped, and I was fine. We threw everything into the hamper, and for some reason my boyfriend just left it by the washing machine. His mom rushed downstairs in the morning yelling and waking us up, asking if we were okay. Lol. We were both confused until we remembered I got possessed by Satan himself just hours before. I forgot to mention that I for some reason found this whole situation hilarious, and my boyfriend had a panic attack when he came to check on me in the bathroom and see what I was laughing about, only to find me laughing my ear off with blood spilling out of and down my face into a bloody toilet. Lol. I definitely looked possessed. In Boy Scouts, I was the morning cook. meaning I woke up before anyone else to chop wood, make fire, and get water boiling. I grab the hatchet and start splitting a log into little splinters for kindling. It was cold and dewy. The hatchet slipped from my hand mid-upward swing and went flying to the tent circle. It seriously flew 10 to 15 yards and fell straight down though the roof of a tent, where 4 scouts were sound asleep. I'm not sure how long I waited to hear someone start screaming. I probably sat there in terrified anticipation for over a minute. Then I was worried someone might be hurt, so I crawled over to that tent where the hatchet landed. I super quietly unzipped the flap and saw it landed in a bag of clothes very close to some kid's head. I snuck in, grabbed the hatchet, left the tent, zipped it back up, and finished breakfast. I heard them at breakfast complaining that the raccoons has ruined their perfectly nice tent by clawing a hole in it. I don't remember what we were looking for, but me and another friend went through our buddy's parents' bedroom drawers and found a VHS tape. We were curious and idiotic, so we popped the tape in to see what was on it. Our buddy walked in while we were watching his parents have sex. His scream was the most shocking / horrifying thing I have heard to this day. We found Kraft singles in the fridge and put one over the nose and mouth of a friend of ours who fell asleep on the couch before everyone else. It immediately softened and molded into a cheesy seal over his face, and he stopped breathing. We all freaked out for a solid 10 seconds, very quietly, until we heard him make a chewing sound. He smelled cheese and took immediate action despite being unable to breathe, and just straight up ate a mouth-sized hole into the single unconsciously. We then proceeded to plaster the entire package onto his face one at a time and watch him hoover up the cheese slices in order to not die. Was at a sleepover. My buddy slept on his couch, I slept on his beanbag chair with a blanket. After hours of playing 007 GoldenEye, I get up and go use their restroom. Except I didn't. I only dreamed I did, and I pissed all over myself at like 4 AM. I hid the blanket in their jacket closet. It was summertime, and threw the beanbag chair in my pussy underpants in their outdoors dumpster. They lived on a ranch. I was 14 at the time. Lol. I had a sleepover at a friend's house, preteen boys, so we were stuffed in one little bed. I got a nosebleed, but slept through it for about an hour. I noticed eventually, and got up to tend to it. My friend woke up while I was in the bathroom to what looked like a scene from a horror movie. I did not get a second sleepover. When I was a stupid kid, I got invited for a sleepover. It was a few of us, and we would be going paintballing the next day, through generosity of the host and his parents. Now I knew most of them from my school, but was really only good friends with one, and he had suggested they invite me as he knows I like to paintball. In the nighttime, when we were all in the living room, being loud and dumb kids, I stupidly said the host's name was probably upstairs F and his mom. Everyone burst out into laughter. Well, I said it loud enough that they heard upstairs as well, and his mom wasn't very happy. The next day it was brought up, and they completely blamed the wrong person. I never said a word about how it was me. That was maybe 10 or 11 years ago, and I still think about it lol. It was so rude and unnecessary. I wish someone had ousted me, but you live, and you learn. Was probably in like 6th grade maybe. Buddy of mine had a birthday sleepover, had a super cool basement with pool and GameCube and a mini fridge. Dope parents who bought us pizza and all that. It was about like 15 of us spending the night. At some point around like 2 AM someone wanted to play Mario Kart and all you heard was a big crash and suddenly a very faint I think I just spilled orange soda on the GameCube. Cue a faint BZZT sound and yeah. GameCube was F edition. Buddy's parents were not happy. Pretty sure that was the last big sleepover like that. First sleepover with boys and girls was like 17. And no parents about. Didn't do anything. But woke up in the morning with all my mates laughing at me and none of the girls talking to me. Turns out that a girl, who I'd been flirting with and kissing the night before, had come to wake me up in the middle of the night. No idea why. I prefer to assume it was to say mean things to me, and in my sleep I had full on punched her smack bang in the face. I was so confused waking up. Everyone was mad at me. No girl would even speak to me. It took a week until someone told me what I had apparently done. Still cringe at it to this day. I snuck out of my good friend's house while she was sleeping, met up with some friends who were looking for someone to TP. We TP'd my friend's house, and then I snuck back in and went to bed. In the morning I had to act surprised while helping her clean it up. I still feel bad. I got food poisoning in the middle of the night the first time I slept over at my boyfriend's, later husband's, apartment. I woke up and I had pooped myself pretty bad. He was such a heavy sleeper I was able to clean myself off and throw away my PJs in the dumpster. I had moved to the floor at one point and got it all over the carpet, so gross he slept through me cleaning his carpet, thank goodness. I made a fort on the ground out of pillows and blankets for myself and my younger cousin. I used some heavy textbooks and some 5 to 10 pound weights from my dad's personal gym to pin a sheet above us, give it a tent-like ambience. In the middle of the night, my younger cousin started to move in his sleep, I assume, and the weight slipped and bonked him on the head. It sounded like hitting a gong underwater. He's alive and in good health. This was a year or two ago. Let me know if I forgot some context or something. I was carrying a bottle of vodka that I'd bought, unopened, and we had already had a good few drinks when I dropped it and it smashed on a nail she had nailed into the carpet of her living room. Shattered everywhere and I had a panic attack in the corner instead of helping to clean up, then had a subsequent drunken breakdown because I didn't help her clean it up until the end, where I accidentally cut myself, and she had to deal with that too. At least it was my bottle, I guess. I had my two best friends sleeping over at my house and we fell asleep in my living room. I woke up in the middle of the night to find one of my friends wasn't sleeping, and I could see the bathroom light was off, so I knew she wasn't in there. I thought maybe she went to go sleep in my room, but then I heard her giggling and my brother laughing coming from the computer room. We were all over the age of 18 plus. I pretended to be asleep as they walked out of the computer room, and she laid back down and went to sleep. I never said anything to either of them, but they dated for a few months until she cheated on him. I was like 4 and had to poop, but was really scared of the dark hallway that led to the washroom, so I grabbed a nearby tissue, shat in it, then hid it behind my friend's couch. Their house began smelling for weeks and they didn't know why. They ended up throwing away their couch and found the hidden sh behind it. I later confessed, and my friend and I still laugh about it.